Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Joining me today in studio, I got lost. I forgot how to get here this morning. It is Charlie O'Connor. That's right, Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer. What's going on today, Chuck?
I'm having a great day. Back in studio.
Yeah.
Seeing you face to face. Always a positive. We don't have Brenna back, but we do have the wonderful Julia behind the boards today as our producer. So we got we got the gang back together.
It's nice.
It's a nice day. It's a Friday. I finished up the bulk of my draft research actually this morning is when I finished the last couple guys I wanted to watch some tape on. So I'm feeling very accomplished, very fulfilled at the moment. And I'm ready to talk some general hockey and Flyers hockey specifically.
Yeah, it is very much a Summer Friday show today. We do have a lot of stuff to get to, but you know the vibe on Fridays. It's going to be a lot of fun.
But you know what we should do
so
first?
Hit the like button.
We're
Yes.
at 25 likes. We haven't been able to see the likes because just some inside
Yeah.
baseball. We can't see the likes when we're on StreamYard as well as we can when we're in studio because we're staring right at the screen where you can see the likes. So we weren't pushing the like thing as much.
Yeah, if I
last couple
can't
days.
see it, I forget about
it too.
Yeah.
But now we can see it. So please hit that like button.
All
Let's
right.
get to 100.
And something everyone likes is a good party. You got to come out to our draft party on Friday, June 27th at Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia. Going to be a great time. We have spent a ton of time. Charlie's talking about his draft research. We've spent so much time talking about it already. We will continue to. When it finally gets here, it's going to be nice just to be with everyone, see what happens with the 6 picks, see how they use those late first-round picks, all the ammo that they have. It feels as if this could be, no guarantees, that's life, but it feels like this could be a really fun draft. You're going to want to be with your fellow Flyers fans, so make sure you come on out to Chickies and Pete's. Go to allphly.com, hit that events tab to get your tickets. 2 options, $5 general admission or $55 VIP package, which includes 3-hour open bar. Come on. That's it right there. $55 for 3-hour open bar. You're ahead.
Yeah.
You're well ahead.
Exactly.
It includes apps and food, and it includes a meet and greet with Flyers legend. And like an hour and a half ago, I got the confirmation. I can tell you who it is. It's the greatest of all time. It's Bernie Parent. There is no player in team history that you would want a meet and greet with more than Bernie Parent. He is hilarious. He is the best stories of all time. And he is, I guess it's Clark, but I don't know.
And you know what?
Back-to-back Vezinas, back-to-back Smythes. Only 2 cups of franchise history, shut out in the clinching game both times. I think he's the greatest Flyer ever.
Do you know what is a low-key cool thing about this? If you pay for the VIP, you can get Bernie Parent a drink and not pay for it.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So come on out, allphly.com, RSVP today. Let's hit this first, Charlie. End of an era. We have talked about this happening, but we got the visual today. I saw this on 6ABC's website. The Wells Fargo name has been removed. It's gone.
Okay. So to clarify, it has not been fully removed. It has been removed from the side of the building, but I did drive up 95 today, and the Wells Fargo Center sign
still on the other side.
Still on the 95 side of the building. So not fully yet, but we are in the process of removing the Wells Fargo Center name from the Farg.
And hopefully, you see that there. It's been chiseled off at least one side of the building. It was like 4 hours ago, it said on Google when I clicked the story. So like maybe they're in the process of getting it off the other side.
Possibly.
But
as recently as 11:10, it was still on the 95 side.
But Charlie
can confirm.
I'm just hoping it's down by that draft date. And then it really is a completely new era.
Yeah.
Because as we've pointed out, it was summer 2010 when it became the Wells Fargo Center. And neither team that plays there has had any success whatsoever ever since.
I would say
not even success.
Yes.
The least bit of luck. Like it's got to be heads or tails of it. Like, no, man, like you keep betting on black and it keeps coming up red 420 times in a row.
Yes.
Like,
I would
that
say
has been what has happened
you could
since
certainly
they
make
changed
the
the name.
case that since 2010, it is specifically for the Flyers.
Yes.
It has all been downhill from there. Maybe you want to say that 2011, 2012 was more, it was a plateau because they won around both of those years, then losing round 2. But going from 2010 when they got to the Cup Final, it was still a downward trajectory, and then it just kept on going down from there.
I always think of like 2011. Like, all right, yeah, technically they won a round, but if you don't win a game in the second round, did you? Like, did you really win a round?
Did you actually get there?
Did you actually even get there?
You need to at least have the gentleman's sweep. You got to get one.
Yeah, you fall down 3-0, you win your second home game, send the fans home happy, then you come home and you go back on the road and get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit of news. Peter DeBoar fired, Charlie. He's out in Dallas.
Maybe I did, William.
Like, we had the conversation about, all right, well, if Jake Ottinger wants out now, and it was like, well, if you're Jim Nill or really anyone in that front office, you're like, you're not leaving.
Well, because really what this boils
We're
down to.
firing the coach then.
Really what this boils down to is, you, William, are the voice of the fan. And the voice of the fan, of the Flyers fan, really fans in general, but I say Toronto fans and Flyers fans do this exceptionally well, where like, when anything in the league happens, it becomes, how does this affect the Flyers?
Yes.
So your view was, Pete DeBoar crapped on his goalie. How does this affect the Flyers? Maybe we can steal Jake Ottinger. Whereas my first thought was, they're totally going to fire Pete DeBoar for this.
Yes, that is the route you should go. However, because like I always say, we are scarred by our past. Speaking of that, like 2011, 2012 season, Charlie. This franchise, the one we talk about for an hour every single day, once did choose their coach over core pieces and moved on from a potential franchise goalie. Like, because of all this dumb stuff and a playoff flameout, well, maybe Dallas would be dumb enough to do that too. No, they did the smart thing. They get rid of the coach because this is hockey. He was going to get fired next year anyway.
Probably.
And
he's never won a cup. That's the thing.
That's the 7, or what is he, like 9 or 10-0 in game 7s now?
Yeah, he's great in game 7s. If he gets to a game 7, he's good.
The fact that you have that, and you've been with, Florida, New Jersey, San Jose, Vegas, and now 5 different teams, and you can't get it done, he's a weird guy. I feel like he's just had a really weird coaching tenure. He's always been really good.
Yeah, he's clearly a good coach, clearly.
But never quite can get it done.
Yeah, he's lost 2 Cup Finals. I believe in New Jersey and San Jose. And then he's got to a ton of conference finals and lost a lot of them too. Look, he's a good coach and he will probably get another job, whether it's this summer, if somebody fires their coach to hire him, or at some point during the season when someone fires their coach and then hires him because he's got a great track record. But when you do what you did and you call out your goalie, who is exceptionally popular in that room and one of the best goalies in the league.
Yeah.
And everyone in that room knows that, well, yes, Ottinger did not have a good series. But a lot of guys in that team didn't have that good of a series, and you just pin it all on the goalie and then more or less double down. Because I mentioned that Sean Shapiro did an article where he more or less confirmed that, oh no, that wasn't just a slip of the tongue, that DeBoar really believes that Jake Ottinger is the reason why they lost that series.
Can't beat these guys. Don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
What? You're not allowed to say that even if you're thinking.
Number one, that's an incorrect evaluation of what happened. So it calls into account your ability to accurately evaluate what the problem is. Number two, probably the entire locker room turned on him. Like when you have these gaps where it's like, okay, they lost last week and then a week later they fire the coach. What that tells me is the exit interviews with the players and the general manager went real bad.
Like Jim Nill comes up to Jamie Benn, let's take a walk. How are people feeling? Bro.
It's bad. It's real bad.
Losing is one thing. We've lost the Western Conference Final 3 times in a row now. Yeah, that stings. Everyone in that room hates him. Yeah. Because he just totally, he just dimed out one of our best players.
Yeah, and this happens, it happens with coaches. One thing I heard, this was years ago. This was when I was first getting on the beat. I had heard, and I didn't really go super into confirming it, but it makes sense that the year that they bought out Brizgalov, they were still on the fence about it going into exit interviews. And apparently, the conversations with the team leaders were all unanimously you need to get rid of this guy. We all hate him.
And it was like they were on a real time crunch because I think it was the year. It was the year of the lockout, but I think after that summer the compliance buyouts expired. Like you only had so long to use them, I believe. Like the coming out and then the following off season of the lockout, and it was. We have to make this decision. Like there's 7 years left on this contract. It's now or never. But yeah, so that's DeBoar. It was probably really predictable. But when the time passes, you go, oh, maybe everyone just moves on. And like Jake Ottinger in his exit interview with the media, like professional, you could tell he's like,
F this guy.
I'm up here saying what I am clearly, I have the body language of a person who is like reading an apology. I didn't write this, but like he handled it professionally. But then like a week goes by and then you hear he's out. It's, oh yeah, everyone hates him. But the team that beat Dallas, well, they're finally back on the ice tonight. I know it's only been one day in between games, but since we had the week leading up to the Cup Final, it feels as if this has been forever. And we've had such a busy week. Like
before we go into the Cup Final, though, I want you to proclaim, because I thought this was a really, I had no ideas in my head of like who Dallas should hire, and then you threw out a name before the show, and I was like, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. They should totally do that.
Oh yeah, a bunch of people on Twitter are throwing torts out, and I'm like, no. Peter DeBoar just got fired for being a jerk.
Yeah. So you're gonna get a bigger jerk,
like the jerk. He is the jerk. I think that's a perfect job for Peter Laviolette.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
He goes to Cup Finals. Like he wins conference championships. He has short tenures with good teams. Gets them to the next level, and then he's gone in a year and a half.
Burns out.
This is exactly like they probably just need to get better or like have a better strat. I don't know. Yeah. Edmonton's really good.
Get better on in terms of your defensive depth to be sure, but perhaps a different coach who excels at quick boosts, let's say, could be the perfect fit for a team that is already real good, but just needs that little push.
Little bit more.
Makes a lot of sense.
I think Lavi makes a ton of sense in Dallas. But yeah, like yesterday we had Apple. It just seems like this has been such a busy week. We've barely talked about the Cup Final.
Yeah.
Charlie, I have an admission. After 20 years, I have finally changed my mind about the puck over the glass.
Really? Just because of the power play that ended the game? You wanted that to go to like 4 overtimes?
We're what, a minute away from double overtime, and we get a power play goal like on a. It was just it was an awesome game. Like don't want to take anything away from the game, but you always think like, do you want a playoff game? Do you want a Cup Final game? Do you want a series to end this way? No, I didn't. I would love to, now that we have 20 years of data, someone examine if there are more or fewer pucks over the glass than there were before the rule was instituted after the lockout. Like, I want to know if this has changed the game dramatically at all, other than just providing another way to create scoring because of power play.
You know why I don't?
That's really, I would love to know.
You know why I don't mind it? And I number one, I don't mind the puck over the glass penalty, but number two, I didn't mind it there is because I don't hate the fact that there is at least one penalty in playoff overtime that is clear cut you have to call. Because in playoff overtime, they just let anything go.
Oh my God.
Because the refs don't want to be accused of deciding the outcome. Yes. But but then you end up just with like, okay, we played 3 overtimes and there's been 1 power play. This is insane. The power play, it's neutering a team like Edmonton that has an incredible power play. It's neutering one of their key advantages, making it more difficult for them to win, which strikes me as a little unfair. At least this gives them the possibility of getting to use their high-powered power play in overtime. So I kind of like the fact that there's at least one penalty that the refs can't just be like, well, it's overtime, we can't call that.
No, that was...
He's like literally like swinging his stick at like a baseball bat and breaking a guy's neck. I don't know, I didn't see it.
No, that was like my initial reaction at the moment when they call it. I'm like, the one thing that's going to get called because it's an automatic. Like, you have to call this.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Throughout the overtime, you're just like, that's interference. It's probably a hook. That's a hold. Like, they're not calling.
They're not calling it.
Short of someone bringing a gun on the ice, they're not calling anything. Yeah. And then, puck over the glass. It's just like, I just saw someone get cross-checked in the mouth, But yeah, that game 1 was fantastic. Really looking forward to the rest of this series. And found myself rooting for the Oilers. I couldn't believe it.
I am 100% rooting for the Oilers.
Yeah. I was all about Florida last year, and this year I think it's time for the Cup to go back up north, and it's never a bad thing when the best player in the league is the champion. Like that actually it gives you the ability to make him the face of your league.
I'm definitely rooting for McDavid. That's a big part of it. The other part of it is just that I don't really want to see Florida win again. I'd like to see a new champion. I don't really want to see the back-to-back. And the bigger reason for me, too, is like I'm just kind of sick of the Florida narrative. I'm sick of the, oh, my God, they're the perfect playoff team. They were built for the playoffs. Like, no, I want to see them lose because the one thing that people forget about and I think Florida's a great team. They're probably the best team on paper. I said that from the start of the playoffs. But the idea that they are this perfect team for the playoffs and that no team has ever been more playoff tested, like they blew a 3-0 lead in the Cup Final last year.
Yes.
If they were the perfect playoff team, they wouldn't have done that. They were one game away from like one of the biggest chokes in hockey history. Like, yes, they ultimately won, and all anybody remembers is they won the Cup. But I'm sorry, they're not perfect.
Yeah. I really enjoy watching them play. It feels like this is the right moment for Connor McDavid. He is so good.
He's so good.
He like clutch, shows up. He's amazing. He just does the littlest things, and I go, ooh. He was like, what happened? I'm like, I don't even really know how to explain it. It's just no one else can do what he just did. It's the smallest little thing. All right, before we move on to a new business, Charlie, we had Alex Appleyard on yesterday, talk Anton Frondell. If you haven't read his deep dive article up on allphly.com, well, what the hell are you doing? And he's going to do a few more for us. So I believe his Martone article will be up next week, and then he'll eventually be on the show to talk about it.
Right.
But any thoughts on Alex's appearance yesterday before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. We love having Alex on the show, and it's going to be fun having him to come on after every single one of these deep dives he's going to be doing over the next few weeks. I'm already real high on Anton Frondell. I like the fact that Alex reiterated and confirmed a lot of the things that I already believed about Anton Frondell. I think I'm a little bit less certain about the center wing thing than he is. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, everything he said is music to my ears as a, like, if he's the guy who slips to 6, no brainer, you take him.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good appearance. Alex is a little too handsome to have on the show, but he's he was really good. And yeah, I liked hearing, like, you guys kind of arrive at the same conclusion on Frondell, but approach it a little differently. Like, yeah, maybe he's a wing, and Alex is thinking, well, maybe he could be an unconventional-ish center, but there are a lot of guys who have done kind of what he does coming out, especially of Sweden and everything. So I thought it was really good, and I'm looking forward to his Martone article and having him back next week to talk about it. All right, before we move on to Flyers business, finally, it is time to take our first commercial break. Summer's here, which means the kids are out and about, hanging with their friends, maybe even picking up a summer job. And that makes it the perfect time to set them up with something that teaches real-world money skills and gives them a little freedom. The Greenlight debit card and money app. If you're a TrueMark Financial member, you can get a free Greenlight account for your kids or teens. It's a simple way for them to manage their own money, whether it's from a job, allowance, birthday cash, whatever it might be. They'll get their own debit card. They can set savings goals, track their own spending, and learn how to budget, all while you stay in the loop from your phone. You're still in control, but they get to learn how money really works in everyday life. So before the summer rush kicks in, is a great way to help your kids build smart money habits that'll stick with them long after the season's over. So head over to TrueMark.com/greenlight. That's TrueMark.com/greenlight to get all the details and sign up today. Don't miss the chance to set your kids up for financial success. Trust me, they won't learn it on their own. You're going to have to teach it to them. You don't want your kids ending up like me. Make sure you get them a Greenlight app. And speaking of Really fun. This is more up my alley. It's the Hall of Fame app. That's right. It's a really cool tool. If you are into sports gambling at all, you know how fun parlays can be. Oh man, all day of games, different sports, putting things together. Let's go. Have a great time. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I have like 7 of 8. And then something just absolutely crashes that, garbage time hits your over. You had the under, boom, screws you. Well, Hall of Fame is developed by a couple of mathematicians to help you avoid those situations. All they do is assess your parlays. It's super easy to use. They show you what the weakest legs might be so you can avoid those heartbreaks. And the best part, you type it all in, you show them what your parlay is, click a one button, takes you right to your sports book of choice and places it for you. I am a big fan of this app. And for a limited time only, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, they also get 50% off their first month when they use code PHLY at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS and Android or visit HOFbets.com, enter code PHLY, and you're all set. That's it. It's super easy to use, really fun, and who doesn't love a great parlay? All right, Charlie. This is something we didn't even have time to get to yesterday, and it's kind of what the previous 2 days set social media on fire for Flyers fans, at least. The report from Elliot Friedman on 590 The Fans Hockey Show. I think he said it on like Monday, and nobody heard it because
it was a random show.
We're in America.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't on 32 Thoughts.
And then one person finally listen. Oh, Elliot Friedman's on something. Let me check it out, and tweets it out, and then suddenly everyone's talking about it. It's the Flyers having been linked to Vegas defenseman Nic Hague. The segment is about who are the players and teams doing a lot of talking and listening, and Friedman starts getting deeper on Vegas, just who at the combine, who's really the movers and shakers right now. And he's talking a lot about Vegas, and they can't keep everybody. Hague's due a raise. He's a player teams are looking to get better. He's a player teams looking to get better are interested in. Sometimes you have to make hard choices, and Vegas is going to have to do that. And he reports the Flyers have been long linked to him. They've had a bunch of talks about Nic Hague. What's your initial reaction when you heard all this hubbubaloo, Charlie?
Yeah, my initial reaction is mild surprise. It makes sense once you hear it, but I guess I didn't realize that they were that interested and they were prioritizing getting bigger on the back end this quickly. Because I look at the Flyers blue line right now and I see a lot of guys who need to play.
Yeah.
And I don't look at it as, oh man, they need another guy. But we do know from Keith Jones, especially, but also Danny Briere, even Brad Shaw made this point. Brent Flair, about the idea of our defense needs to get bigger. When I hear that, usually I think they're looking at well, we need to get bigger over the long term. The fact that they are being linked to Nic Hague, who his biggest standout trait is that he is 6'6". He is huge. He is enormous.
And 245, which is gigantic for the NHL.
He's a large man, very large human. The fact that they're being linked to Hague tells me, number one, it's Friedman, so at the very least they're talking.
Yeah, it's true.
They may not get him,
but
they are interested because Friedman does not make this kinds of stuff up. He is very well sourced. He wouldn't be saying, unless he was fairly confident, the Flyers have at least expressed significant interest in Nic Hague. It just surprised me a little bit that they are this focused on addressing the blue line size issue now rather than it being a long-term plan.
I can see acquiring him. I don't think a lot of people were oh, it's over. They're doomed. This team's not going to be any good because they like Nic Hague. I'm not out on the idea of Hague. I think that's a fine acquisition to make if you do value having bigger defensemen. And look at teams that win. They typically have pretty big blue line. I just look at this roster and this blue line absolutely needs to get bigger, but you need defensemen with size and skill to play in your top 4 who not only have the reach of, Stretch Armstrong, but can then do something with the puck after. And while Risto's here, and it's going to be kind of difficult to trade him,
at least this summer,
while he's suffered this injury.
Right.
Nick Seeler's here. And then you look at, all right, well, Sanheim and Drysdale are locks to be here. York probably, I wouldn't mind him being sent out in a deal that like addresses the team needs, but we better get a whole lot else back from Vegas. We're giving them York for Hague or something like that. Andre on the borderline, McDonald close, Grans they like, Bonk is coming. Where the hell are all these guys going to play?
Yeah. And to me, like if they just get Nic Hague, and we're going to talk a little bit about the type of player he is, the quality of player he is, and there's legitimate way to debate that on both sides. Sure. But if they just go out and get Nic Hague and do nothing else, it would be like, why? You have so many guys that need to play. You have so many guys already on your roster that are NHL caliber. Where does he fit aside from the fact that you were just like, well, I need a big defenseman because it just makes me feel better if we have another big defenseman. To me, this only makes sense if you are planning to do other things. Like, it makes a lot of sense if you trade Risto. I think it would be difficult to trade Risto. Maybe they think they can trade Risto this summer. If you're moving Cam York, which I don't think they're itching to do that, but maybe they think that's a possibility. So there are, I don't know, like, it just feels like, well, in no way, shape, or form am I questioning Elliott. Like, I believe that these conversations have happened. I believe the Flyers clearly do want to get bigger on the back end. And in Nic Hague, they see a guy who is huge and also can skate. I think that's important to them. Yeah. He's not a super offense guy. He's not super skilled, but he does have mobility, especially at that size, which is very important to them, especially for their idea of like the playoffs. Plus, he's not that old. He's 26 going on 27. So they might be able to see him as part of the future. But to me, if you just get him and do nothing else, it just strikes me as, ooh, there's the shiny, tall new toy. Yeah. Let's get him and figure it out later. It could make sense, but you have to do some other things for it to make sense to me.
And that's this report is from Vegas's perspective, really, that Friedman laid out. Like, well, they're going to have to make hard choices, and they have this guy who's due a raise, and you look around the league, everybody wants these big, he kept calling him big and lean. I was like, this is one of the biggest dudes in the NHL. But like,
well, when you're 6'6".
No, but it's just,
you put a lot on your frame.
It was just funny to me.
Not big.
It was just funny to me. But like, he's gigantic. He can skate. Like, this is what a bunch of teams are looking for. It makes sense for them to move him. And I have heard, Philly has called several times. But it's kind of from the Vegas side. From the Flyers side, it's, all right, but that's a piece of this is not the plan this offseason. It's just a piece of the puzzle. What else makes it make sense? And that was kind of like, all right. It's like, I'm not out on the idea entirely. I do think this team needs big defensemen. Rasmus Ristolainen, constantly hurt, $5.1 million. By the time they're good, his contract's going to have expired. He's aging. Like, I don't really see him as part of the future. As soon as I'm able to trade him, I'm trying to trade Risto.
Right.
But he does have 2 more years left on his contract at 5.1. Yeah. Now, with the cap going up, that might not be like an automatic no from teams, but he's got to be healthy for anyone to be interested. Seeler has 3 more years at $2.7 million, and he has a no trade that expires next July 1st. So for this year, he has a no trade up until next offseason. Then the final 2 years, no protection.
And I don't think they're itching to trade Nick Seeler.
No, I really don't. That's the details of the contract. Sure. But how many of these guys? Because yeah, I agree, we need to get bigger, but like get Seth Jones bigger, not like someone who does other stuff too. Yeah. They need some of that. And like, yeah, Sanheim, he's big, but he's not physical. Like, we need someone who's everything, and I don't see how this addresses their problem without other moves. It was just surprising to me.
That's where it's surprising to me. Now, let's talk about Nic Hague, the player.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of debate in our PHLY Discord about Nic Hague, the player. And I believe the general consensus was, to simplify it, he stinks.
I don't think he stinks.
I don't think he stinks, but there is statistical evidence, if you want to go in one direction, that he's not that good, or at the very least was not good last year. So we're talking about a guy here who, you have the breakdown in the outline. So I'll go through with the stats that you very helpfully put in the outline.
Stuff Charlie doesn't care about.
So he was an early second round pick in 2017, the Nolan Patrick draft. Doesn't score much. We're not talking about a guy who is an offense producer. He's hit 17 points in a season twice. Never cracked 20, 5 goals in a season twice. This is not an offense guy. This is very clearly a support, puck mover type. Was on that cup-winning blue line and blocks a lot of shots, hits a lot. He's not a 200 hit a year guy, but he's big. He plays that tough to play against game that people in the game love. That does have a greater degree of importance. I think we both agree in the playoffs. Then let's look at the advanced metrics, because the advanced metrics are interesting. I think a lot of people looked at his season last year and it was ugly, but that was kind of an aberration. So I'm going to go through the RAPM model that Evolving Hockey has on their website. It's for subscribers only, but I subscribe, so I get it. And what that model does is it tries to isolate how good a guy is at driving play, how good a guy is at helping his team generate more expected goals than the other team. So last season, among all defensemen in the NHL, Nic Hague was real bad. He ranked in the 3rd percentile among all NHL defensemen that played at least 400 minutes at even strength. That's terrible. Like, we're talking one of the worst advanced stat defensemen in the league, which probably plays into why Vegas is interested in moving him, because it's like, well, he came off this real bad year, and and it wasn't like it was just by the numbers. You look at his time on ice: 18 minutes 40 seconds in 2021, 18 minutes 5 seconds 2022, 18 minutes 33 seconds 2023. Then last season, 17 minutes, basically.
17, yeah.
His minutes were down, probably because they were like, he's not playing as well. So that's concerning. The year before, pretty good. 74th percentile among NHL defensemen. The 2 years prior, 30th percentile, 37th percentile. Overall, we're probably talking about, a decent enough third pair defenseman. A guy who probably you can expect to land somewhere in that 30 to 50th percentile in the NHL among defensemen, which isn't amazing, but it's not terrible. And if you believe that big defensemen have value in terms of insulating your smaller guys, who the Flyers have, in terms of, making your team tougher to play against, and in terms of making your team more playoff capable, then having a guy who is 6'6", who, aside from this past season, doesn't get killed out there, not the worst thing. So, despite the fact that his metrics last season, terrible, I'm not ready to paint him with the terrible brush from a analytics perspective. I guess that's the way I'll put it.
I think, I don't think he's a bad player. Again, I'm not out on the idea, price dependent, all that stuff. But one thing I am looking at, he's due a raise. Coming off after his ELC, he signed a 3-year deal that had a $2.3 million average annual value. We've talked about this stranglehold that, one of the reasons you're rooting for Edmonton is I can't stand the way guess what? We talked about this last week. NHL people want, front offices want to build their teams this way, and they're looking at Florida confirmation bias is what we got to do.
Exactly, yeah.
If every team in the league is looking to get these big guys,
it's a reasonable point.
What is he going to cost?
Yeah. It's a reasonable point.
This is a fear of mine that you just look at and we gave him, the Risto contract. It's what? Even then, if you got out of Risto, it's no, you didn't.
Yeah, you just have another Risto.
You did the exact same thing again.
That's the reason why I'm intrigued by Hunter McDonald, even though I'm skeptical, because it's just replace Risto with cheaper, younger Risto. That's great. But then if you replace Risto with cheaper, younger Risto, and then you go out and sign another Risto to a Risto contract, then you're back to square one, except younger.
Again, I think you need these guys, but we also need some really good players. Someone is going to have to score for this team at some point, unless we think Matvei Mishkov is going to score more than Gretzky in the 80s. Someone else is going to have to score, and he doesn't help you do that a little bit. And once you start overpaying for these intangibles or even tangibles, like, yo, he's tall. You know, these are measurables. That's how you get yourself into cap trouble again. And they're working their way out of it right now. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want one of our first moves to be, oh yeah, and then we overpaid Nic Hague. Like that's with everybody putting such a premium on these guys, and he's not a UFA, so it's not like he's going to hit the open market, but
he'll get paid.
Yeah, he's going to get paid because everyone is valuing these guys, and it's like that's a little bit of a concern for me, just in terms of what kind of contract he would get, and then there's the idea of what it's going to take to acquire him. Vegas, they do real well in these situations a lot. Yeah. Like they're whether they're flipping someone, bringing in a bigger name guy, like whatever it is, Vegas. I mean, there's a reason they've been good basically since they came into be. What would you be willing to give? I realize like there's so many different ways it could go, but like it's definitely not a first. Like I'm not giving up a first for Nic Hague. That's insane.
I wouldn't do that.
Like, is it a second and Adam Ginning? Like, is that fair? Is it more? Is it like what do you think, just value wise, they'd have to give up to get him? And he's unsigned right now. You're just getting his RFA rights.
Yeah, a second sounds right for hockey. It just it sounds
not
like
a first.
Not a first, but. And if you want to throw in an Adam Ginning or a bit part in the organization who probably doesn't have a path, sure, just to give them a contract or somebody that their scouting department might be like, yeah, take a look at this guy. He has some tools. He has some options. Second makes sense. There was a rumor that Brandon Summerman reported a couple weeks ago, implying that the Flyers were discussing a winger for defenseman trade with Vegas.
Yes, so that did come up.
People have linked these two together. Some people have thought like, well, trade the small Bobby Brink for Nic Hague. That strikes me as possible. I would not do that. Personally, I would not do that. Now, if Vegas is like, we'll take Jacob Peltier for Nic Hague, I probably do that.
Yeah.
But I think I like Brink more than I like Nic Hague. I like Brink's upside more, but it would fit with the whole, like, we're getting bigger thing.
No, it absolutely would. It's just, like, there are guys who play bigger than their size, and you can say, oh, well, they break down, and maybe you need to be big in the playoffs, but like you look at Brad Marchand and guys like that, it's more about I think especially for forwards, it is about a tenacity and a willingness to get in there more so than it is like about their actual size. Like I don't worry about now maybe Bobby Brink, yes, up against a 6'6", 245-pound defenseman, he's just gonna get pushed around because that's how gravity works. But for the most part,
It's physics.
Yeah. Like for the most part, I don't look at him and go, oh, well, you need to move on. I do. I like Bobby Brink a lot. Like there's plenty of trades I'd make with him involved.
Sure, I would too.
That's not one of them, I don't think. That's a tough one, but that would tie in perfectly. Winger and getting bigger. I wonder if that's what it is. Like that makes the most sense of anything I've heard.
It makes sense as a swap. Now that said, Vegas does. Not all. I mean, obviously they had guys like March or so, but like they tend to be a team that likes to be big. So I don't know if Brink is the type of guy they would necessarily target, but I guess from that standpoint, neither necessarily with Peltier because he's not big either.
No,
he's not as small as Brink, but he's close.
I find it so curious that the Flyers have all these like 6 foot and under defensemen, and they have like this philosophy that they've said out loud. Oh yeah, we believe in big defensemen. Like we want our, and then, well, you traded maybe the best piece you're going to trade the next 10 years for a guy who's 5'9".
It's a fair point.
Why did you do that?
He's not 5'9".
What is Jamie Drysdale?
He's 5'10", 5. I think he's 5'11".
I think he's bigger than
I think he's 5'11", but he's probably more like 5'10".
I think he's bigger than I think he is, but yeah, he's not 6'2".
No, he's a smallish defenseman. To be sure.
I'm interested to see where this goes. I love rumors. I especially love the rumors that make everyone freak out because we've reached a consensus. Oh, they like Nic Hague. They're no good. It's like, no, I understand this philosophy. when do we get better players too? Like where are they coming from the guys who like run the power play. And I'm interested to see where this goes. Another thing, I think John Bailey brought it up in the hockey news, the idea of trading for Keandre Miller with the Rangers.
I mean, he's also big. I feel like Hague brings more of that, playoff physicality than Miller does, who's always been viewed as a little bit more of a big guy, but a big guy with skill. I like Miller more as a player.
Yeah. I know you liked Miller a lot in that draft.
I did.
Now I don't know which
it was
which.
The Jay O'Brien draft. I wanted them to take Miller instead of Jay O'Brien.
I was going to say Jake O'Brien, and I was like, that's not right. We've had this conversation.
We're talking about Jake O'Brien a lot over the next 3 weeks, I suspect.
We've had this conversation too many times. I don't know which is which now. But it does seem as if we've talked about them trying to get incrementally better. This is one of those things they're going to do this summer, get a bigger defenseman. It really feels that way. And I'm looking to see what the price is and what else they do to make it make sense.
That's the thing. I'm very curious as to, is this just going to be like, well, we're going to get a big defenseman and we'll figure it out? Yeah. Or is it we're going to get a big defenseman as part of the starting of the reshaping of the blue line to look the way we want it to look over the long term? I'm curious.
Yeah. All right. We have some mailbag questions we want to get to. Of course, all your super chats. But first, we have to take our second commercial break. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and one local Philly artist is proving it. That's right. We're talking about Art of Words today. I am a big fan of the Art of Words artwork. They are incredibly unique. Each piece is made entirely from handwritten words, like every Eagles name forming the link or every Phillies name shaping Citizens Bank Park. And he does more than sports as well. He's captured Boathouse Row, Reading Terminal, Philly Skyline, the Jersey Shore, and so much more. And they make for unforgettable gifts for sports fans, grads, Father's Day right around the corner. This is a great gift for any situation. First started making these pieces by selling them in the K-Lot and Rice's Flea Market. And the artist credits Philly fans for launching his career, and they're now available for dozens of other cities and teams as well, so there's something for everyone. But come on, get the Philly stuff. That's what we're here for. The pieces are total conversation starters. You always know how it goes. Bunch of dudes hanging out, just naming names. That's what this is in really cool art, and it'll start all the fun conversations. They've been featured on the Today Show, ESPN, so much more. Check it out for yourself. Go to artofwords.com. That is artofwords.com. And use code PHLY at checkout for 15% off your first purchase. I have a few of these. I think the gritty one is behind me that I had, and I put it in this studio. Maybe it's not there anymore. I can't turn around. We're in the middle of a read. Julia tells me it's there.
It is indeed.
I have a few of these. They're really, really cool. Make great gifts. Check out artofwords.com. All right, and while we're here, let me tell you about Cherry Hill Kia. That's right, because if you're looking for amazing deals and super low lease payments, KiaofCherryHill.com is the place to be. They're celebrating Memorial Day savings all month long on their massive selection of over 450 new Kias to choose from. They have over 40 Tellurides, over 100 Sportages, 35 Carnivals, over 75 Celtos, and 80 Souls. I do love that Kia Soul, man. I don't know what it is. Just love the Kia Soul. I've got to tell you, Kia is the hottest automotive brand in the country for a reason. 7 of their models received 2025 Car and Drivers Edition Choice Awards. That's amazing considering there are more than 450 models tested and only 20 models industry-wide received this award. 7 of them were Kias. Combine that with the best warranty in the automotive business, 10 years, 100,000-mile powertrain, and 5 years, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper. So stop in today and tell them PHLY sent you and receive a $100 restaurant.com gift card just for taking a test drive or completing a trade appraisal. I know people buy Kias elsewhere. I just don't know why. Drive home in your Kia today, just minutes from all bridges, or available online 24/7 at KiaofCherryHill.com. All right, Charlie. We had a bunch of mailbag questions. We were going to do like bonus episode mailbags this week.
Let's do a mailbag.
I was like, you know what? We have a lot. Let's just do the show.
It's an F around Friday.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't really feel like coming up with any more content. Quite honestly, it's Friday, you know. So we are going to hit as many of your questions as we can before we got to wrap up today. And we're going to lead it off with one from just the other day, Clay Soderig. Just spitballing here, but what's keeping Luchenko from playing at the college level next year other than him not being interested? Feels like a much better option than another year of juniors.
I think there's a very simple answer to this. The simple answer is he's already signed an NHL entry-level contract. And I believe that once you sign an NHL entry-level contract, you are no longer eligible to play in college. They've worked out a deal where you could play in juniors and then move to college. Yeah. But because Luchenko, and we remember this, he signed it before he turned 18. You make the joke all the time.
Now like his parents' signature or something.
Now that he signed an ELC, and yes, it hasn't kicked in yet, but he got the signing bonus. He got that. He got that money up front.
He is a technical professional in the NCAA's eyes.
A professional. I believe he, even if he wanted to, could not play in the NCAA.
You know, I hadn't even considered that, and that's like the easiest possible explanation. I was like, oh, that's not even what I was going to say, but because this actually kind of does make sense to me if he hadn't signed the contract. Yeah. Because
I agree.
Especially that Guelph team, like he's got no help. And we already kind of know exactly what he is at the juniors level. He can't play in the AHL yet. Like, how do they make this work? Him taking another step. Oh, college. He'll at least be like up against men and like have a different schedule, be able to hit the weight room harder with you know, all the equipment at the facilities. Like, I think it makes sense. But that makes. Yeah, he can't. He simply cannot. Yeah. It is against the rules. So much has changed in college sports.
Well, with the NIL, the names, image, and likeness thing.
A professional contract makes you ineligible to play in the NCAA, even if you haven't actually, you know, in the NHL's eyes. It's, the slide rule. Now you signed the deal.
Also, if you went the NCAA route, I believe, and again, it's all very nebulous because this is such a changing world, but I believe, like, let's say he had not signed the ELC.
Yeah.
He played in juniors last year, and then he's like, I want to go to the NCAA next year for that final year. What I believe that would do, because again, about the professional rules, he would not be eligible to come to camp in September and battle for a spot to make the team, which obviously he wants to do, because if you think about it, there's a reason why all the NCAA guys don't come to, you know, they come to development camp, but they don't come to main camp. They don't come to rookie camp. So that would also, Clay, I believe, end any chance that he has of making the team out of camp this year, which he wants to try to do that.
He made the team a year ago. We'll see if Rick Tocchet thinks as highly of him as John Tortorella did. But yeah, if he thinks he has an outside chance to play in the NHL, yeah, he should probably take that chance.
Look, we got a shout from Brenna in the chat. Brenna checked in. We miss you, Brenna.
Just the absolute.
Not a criticism of Julia. She's great, but we do miss Brenna.
All right. Our next question is from Jake Haight. He asks, what is off the table for trading for Jason Robertson if he's available? And I want to put it another, because it's like, all right, let's put it another way. If Jason Robertson is available, is anything outside of Matvei Michkov off the table in your mind?
In my mind, based on the way that the Flyers are doing this and the way that they have chosen to build, the 6th overall pick will be off the table for me, which I think takes the Flyers out of the running for Jason Robertson.
We talked about that a little when the Robertson rumors came out, or at least, you know, the possibility of him getting traded. I think it was Jeff Marek brought it up. Yeah. Since Michkov is 100% untouchable,
right?
6 has to be where the conversation starts if you're Dallas. Yeah. Like, it's 6
think, right?
and what else, you know? Like, or like that's maybe the only chance of a 1-for-1, but I don't even think is what, like, Dallas also needs to be good. Like, they can't just subtract talent. Yeah. They have to bring something in, and maybe something a little cheaper. But yeah, if I'm Jim Nill, I'm like 6 and that's the starting point
would
here.
If I was him, yeah.
And I would love Jason Robertson, and I think he would fit really well with what they're doing. But man, that 6th pick could be a boat.
I just think that, like, if you were to do that deal, you are turning the corner and trying to go into contention right now. And all of their other moves and their plan implies they're not doing that. So even though it would be fun, and I don't think it's even a bad deal, like, Jason Robertson is worth that. He's great. He's one of, in my mind, one of the maybe like 30 or 40 best players in the NHL. He's real good. And there's most likely the guy you get at 6 is not going to be as good as Jason Robertson is right now. Most
odds are against it.
Chances are. but I don't think it fits with the way they're trying to do this. Trading away the 6th overall pick for a guy who is, what, 26 going on 27?
Yeah. And
Or
like if
25
they,
going on 26,
if
one
they,
of the two.
I think it's 26 into 27.
26 and 27. Okay.
It might be, I can't remember. But if they were to do that, trade 6 for Jason Robertson, I am then like, all right, go sign Aaron Ekblad.
Exactly.
Trade for John Gibson or something. Like, all right, that means we're going.
That means we're going for
Like,
it. And I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think that's
but
really.
You're absolutely right. If they were to do that, then it's like, all right, get a number 1 goalie.
Yep.
Go out and sign somebody in free agency. Like, we're going for this freaking.
So we're going to be the team that gives Bennett 10, aren't we? We'll talk about that another. All right. From Heavy Edit Pod, I do like to do the non-sports ones every now and then. He asks, what are your favorite beaches on the Jersey Shore and favorite non-Jersey Shore beaches? Charlie, you're a Sea Isle guy like me, right?
I am, yeah. This is a tough question for me to answer just because I don't have a lot of familiarity with other beaches aside from Sea Isle because I went to Sea Isle my entire life. My grandparents had a condo there, and now I go down there still just because I'm used to it. I'm used to Sea Isle. I hate Wildwoods Beach because it's so goddamn
Sahara?
big. so that is my least favorite because it's friggin' enormous. But like I don't have a lot of comparisons to Sea Isle because Sea Isle is just kind of my beach. Yeah,
Sea Isle's been my main place, like Ocean City, Avalon a couple of times when I was a kid. I have a friend who was, maybe still is, in North Wildwood lifeguard. So I went there for a few years. But Sea Isle's always been my home base. That's my favorite. Non-Jersey Shore beaches, other than like island getaways, I don't know if I've ever really been like, because why would I go somewhere else when it's 58 minutes away from my house? Like I can just be in Sea Isle in under an hour. Like I'm not going. I've been to the Outer Banks a couple times. That was cool.
Okay.
But yeah,
Barcelona's beaches were cool.
Oh,
that was
go.
neat.
Yep. Effing Charlie. Yeah, but I
Ocean City, Maryland. I've been there. Those beaches were pretty cool. I was cool with that.
Yeah, I haven't been
long time ago when I was in like my early 20s. I was there, but they were fun.
Haven't been to a ton of non-Jersey beaches, honestly. All right, let's see if we can get through a few more of these. All right, this is one I wanted to get to. From Brian Phelps. How do you justify paying Noah Cates more money and more term than Tyson Forster? In what universe is he more valuable than him? And I think this just gets down to a couple of one conversation we did have and one we didn't. One, this is how UFA versus RFA deals work. A UFA is worth more, like, they have more leverage.
Well, they were both RFAs, but they were in different parts.
Buying the UFA years. Buying the UFA years.
So Cates' deal, Cates has already gotten the post entry level bridge. This is Cates' third deal. Whereas with Forster, this is Forster's second deal. Forster was coming off the ELC, so he had less leverage because he's played in fewer games than Cates, I believe, and also he's just further down the process. But there's also just the fact that Forster got a 2-year deal. Cates got a 4. If Forster would have gotten a 4-year deal, there's a good chance, I would say likely, he's getting a higher cap hit than Noah Cates did on his deal. It's just that the bridge deal, because you're only buying out those 2 years, whereas, as you said, with the Cates deal, you're buying out 3 UFA years. You have to pay a little bit more to buy those years out. Had Forster gotten a long-term deal, it would have been more than Cates, but they went the bridge deal route because those years, I guess you would say it's the 4th and 5th years of team control, because it's after the 3 years of ELC.
Yeah.
They're just naturally cheaper based on the way arbitration works, the way comparables work. So that's the reason. I do agree that Tyson Forster is a more valuable player than Noah Cates, but I do think it's closer than maybe you're giving it credit for.
Yeah, like you do get paid for production, and overall, like over the long term, I expect Tyson Forster to produce a lot more like raw scoring totals than Noah Cates.
I think Forster's upside is higher than Cates' absolutely. Where they are as players right now, they're probably pretty close, I would say. Forster's a better goal scorer. Cates is obviously a center versus a wing. I think they're pretty close right now.
At this very moment, yeah.
But I do agree with Brian that I expect Forster's upside to be an ultimate outcome, to be higher than Cates' ultimate outcome.
And we talked, like, this is the part we talked about. Tyson Forster would rather right now, all right, yeah, cap hit's kind of low, but even if he maintains this level of production, like the next contract is so much bigger just because that's how the salary cap works. Like, and if he takes a step, then he's making a ton of money.
Exactly.
All right. Before we finish up today's show, I got to tell you about the second annual PHLY Sports Liberty Open Golf Tournament. It is going to be a great freaking time. I cannot wait. I didn't get to go to last year's. Really looking forward to going to this year's. And this year, it is brought to you by Xfinity. And Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile in one all-in plan. Get lightning-fast speeds at home and a secure network on the go. The Wi-Fi is booming. Restrictions apply. Xfinity internet required. Actual speeds vary. We got to tell you about some of the fun that's going to be had at the Valley Brook Country Club on what's the date? I've lost it already. Saturday, June 14th. I've only said it 100 times.
Almost a week away.
Yeah, so we're running out of time. Like today and tomorrow, last days to get your tickets. Do it now. There's so much fun stuff that's going to be going on. You get 18 holes of golf with a cart, limited edition PHLY golf tournament gifts and tee prizes, taste of Philly dinner and post-round ceremony at the pavilion, unlimited draft beer for 2 hours after the round, contests on the course, a post-round raffle, Philly memorabilia, giveaways. Like most of our staff is going to be there. I'm not playing, but I'm going to be hanging out. So come have a beer with me. That'll be a lot of fun. But it's going to be a great time. You don't want to miss it. Go to allphly.com and book your foursome today. And now, calling all puck knowers. That's right. We've changed it to the Stanley Cup puck knower bonus because ball knower doesn't make any sense. If you think you know puck, we've got another puck knowers bonus I'd like to tell you about for each game of the Stanley Cup Final. All you have to do, it's real simple. Pick the winner of the game, and Game 2 is tonight between Edmonton and Florida. Do you think the Oilers are going up 2-0, or do you think Florida ties it back up? That's all you have to do. Pick the winner. And then you can win a gift card to the PHLY merch store, if you make your pick correctly. Here's how it works. First, click the link in the description of the show. Then place an order in the ALLCITY merch store for $25 or more. If you pick correctly the winner of tonight's game, then you get a gift card to the merch store for the same amount as your original order. So this is basically, if you get it right, it's a buy one, get one deal. You get your money back, get something else. That's basically how it works. One important thing, you must click the link in the chat or in our show notes to qualify for the gift card. So here we are coming up. Option 1, Oilers. Option 2, Panthers. It's that simple. Pick one or the other. Buy something. Boom, you're in the running. So again, for puck knowers, make your pick, then place an order. If you pick correctly, you're going to get a gift card from us for the same amount as your order. That's the puck knowers bonus from PHLY. All on-sale items are eligible for this promotion, so long as the total value of the order is $25 or more at checkout. All right. We're at 57. Let's do the super chat.
Super chat time.
We got 2 mailbag questions in.
No, I've got more than that.
I think it was 3.
4.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a decent amount.
I always feel bad. I make the producers make the graphics, and then we do 3. All right. First super chat from Brandon X. Brandon says, the case for Jake O'Brien, maybe the highest IQ in the draft, sick on the power play, perfect playmaker for Mish. Grew like 2 inches last summer, needs to fill in. He's the big swing, last high pick of rebuild.
There's a lot of good things about Jake O'Brien. I like Jake O'Brien a lot. His tape pops, as Brandon says. Really good playmaker. The vision, the passing ability, super high end. To me, he's a little bit more risky than the guys I have above him. Needs to play with more pace. I have some concerns about the skating. I just think that his floor is lower than guys like Frondell and Desnoyers. But I do agree he would be a big swing on talent.
And before we finish up with the super chats, we're headed to overtime. That's right. Head to allphly.com now if you're part of our TV audience.
You were kind of on Jake O'Brien, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he obviously he's high-end draft pick prospects. He didn't excite me. Okay. There wasn't oh, look at Frondell's shot. Look at Brady Martin just run people over. Not that. I feel like people interpreted me enjoying Brady Martin, watching him as, oh, that's who they should take with 6. No, I think they're going to. So I'm preparing myself for that.
I don't.
And then when they don't, I'm going to be excited with whoever they pick, But Brady Martin may be on my guy list, but not for that 6th pick. All right. From JH, good to hear JH, and he's updating us on McDavid watch. 391 days until he's an unrestricted free agent. I guess you're rooting for Florida if you want McDavid,
Probably,
right? Because
probably
he's eligible for an extension July 1st. He signs that immediately if he's like, yeah, it's my day with the cup, and I'm signing my 8-year, $200 million extension, whatever the hell he's gonna get. You know,
I don't think McDavid's going anywhere. But you know what? Keep dreaming, bud.
Dreams make life tolerable, like they said in Rudy. All right, another one here from JH. Bill, tell K-Red he's pretty. Thanks. Oh, well, I bet he is. Sure, absolutely. All right, from what's that? Thielen, the Ian Arbuckle. We did this last time. The Ian Arbuckle. Yep. Thoughts on Shabanov? Yeah.
Sure. If they sign him, I will be all for it.
I love an acquisition that only costs money.
Exactly.
Like, I'm all for that. Oh, we're also spotting money. Didn't have to give anything up. Could be something. Absolutely.
Take a stab at a skilled Russian player to pair with the other hyper skilled Russian player you already have. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, whatever.
And then he can hang out with Kolosov, and everyone will be happy.
I don't know if that even would make Kolosov happy.
Nothing's gonna make him happy. All right, from our pal Purple Crayon. What up, Perp? It's super early, but who will be the Stars' next coach?
Laviolette just makes so much sense. Laviolette. It just makes so much sense.
He has been doing this tour of the Metro that it would feel weird for him to be back down south, but I do think Lavi just makes a ton of sense. I do not think it'll be Tortorella. I think that would be insane to fire DeBoar after his comments and then be like, the guy who does this twice a week. Yeah, let's hire him. Like,
Bill,
the guy whose entire personality is what we just fired the other guy for.
It would be very funny, though.
I remember, I can't imagine Stars fans are as angry at the team as I was, like, when we hired Tortorella. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's disappointing when you lose in the Western Conference Final 3 years in a row.
Still the Western Conference Final.
I don't want the players, to be miserable because they let me down a little in the 3rd round of the playoffs. But I can see, I was so mad at the Flyers when they hired Tortorella. I was like, good. Now they'll be as miserable as I am. I wonder if, you made me get rid of DeBoar because he was mean to you. Wait till you see what I did. I don't know why Jim Nill would have that feeling about the team he built, but that would be very funny. All right, from Alex Biscardi. I refuse to let the dream die. I need to see Giroux and Mishkov play together. Whoever in the team, please help make it happen. I am staunchly anti the return of Claude Giroux. It's over. I'm sorry it didn't work. I'm sorry they couldn't have built a better team around him. I'm sorry they wasted his prime. But it's over, man. We've all moved on. We're in healthy, happy relationships without each other. Enjoy your life.
I think it could happen, but not this summer.
Not this summer. All right. From Eli Shaka. What team, if they win Game 7, is more likely to win the Cup? 99 or 04?
It's an interesting question. So I'm assuming by 99 he means 2000. Yeah. So the 99-2000 team. I'm curious to hear your answer on this. My opinion is I think the 2004 team was better, but I think by the time they would have gotten past the Lightning, they were so injured,
so hurt,
that they were not going to be able to win another round. Whereas I do think, especially if, and again, this is also assuming a world where everyone on the 2000 team could coexist. You get Lindros back for the final.
No, because
I think you win that final.
For them to win in 2000 in Game 7, that means Lindros doesn't get decapitated.
Right. And then he's available for the final. So
he's healthy for the final.
Yeah.
Whereas that 04 team, that was the first team that I thought actually had the heart, but maybe not quite the skill. They were out of defensemen.
Yeah.
They had no more players.
I think if everyone's healthy, they win.
Yes.
But everyone wasn't.
No. Everyone wasn't healthy going into the playoffs. And then they had one of the most ridiculous playoff runs, just physical battle. there'd be people still in the hospital if they had gone to the next round.
I think it just comes back to how I view both those playoff runs. Like, I think back to 2004.
But Calgary or Dallas, Dallas would be a tougher opponent.
I believe, yeah. Dallas would have been tougher. But I look back on 2004 and I say, man, they gave it their all.
Yeah.
Like, they squeezed as much out of that run as possible. I look back at 2000 and I look at that as a major missed opportunity.
No, like the 04 team, it's like the end of Mystery Alaska. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
You could have.
Yeah.
You could have. Just didn't work.
Yeah.
But 2000 is just, and now the franchise is forever changed because Lindros is dead. All right. This next one from Linden49. At least we forget about Brady Martin.
Yeah,
I got to bring him up.
loves Brady Martin.
Yeah. I really like him. If they had like the 9th pick, I would love Brady Martin. It's just, like, we really need a guy who's going to score a ton. We really need those guys. All right. And finally, from H. Renee Ford, torts to PWHL Seattle.
I mean,
honestly, I could almost see it.
This is like, this almost has to happen because it is.
That's a movie.
That's what I was going to say. It is a movie 15 years down the road.
That is like, I can't even, for some reason, like Mr. Baseball comes, but just like fish out of water, heartwarming story. Like, that would honestly, that would be so good.
It changes the way Torts views people.
Yeah. Man, that would be honestly, I hope that happens. That would be so cool. That would be such a good movie. John Tortorella coaching in the PWHL. That
would be great.
That would be tremendous. All right. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. I got to remind you, Friday, June 27th, draft party. Let's go. Go to allphly.com. RSVP, get your tickets. 2 options, $5 general admission, $55 VIP. That comes with a 3-hour open bar, food, and a meet and greet. That's right, with the one and only Bernie Perron.
One last super chat under the buzzer from Kate Alt. Just showing some love to my favorite pod. Have a good weekend, y'all. Thank you, Kate. Also,
Happy
Kate,
weekend,
did
Kate.
see in the chat you asking if there was going to be another party from another outlet at Chickies and Pete's on draft night. I got confirmation today. There is not. We are the only Flyers draft party at Chickies and Pete's on draft night, day 1, Friday night. So just to clarify that.
Yes, so come on out. Chickies and Pete's. Friday, June 27th. Go to allphly.com. Get your tickets for that. All right, that's it. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Till next week, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.